Oi, you know what time it is? You're tuned in listening to Dry That Aussie Metal Guy. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his content when it drops. And remember, stay brutal, you mad dogs. Roof!
G'day, legends. How the bloody hell are you going? It is time again for another edition of the Bloody Legends podcast with myself and Jim Taylor. Hope you have all been well. Jim, how have you been, my friend?
Wonderful, my brother. How are you?
I'm really, really good, man. Today we're going to be talking about a whole lot of music and probably a whole lot of other stuff as well. All things go to well, we should have our first official guest. I know last one we were meant to have Tom for Carnal Viscera. He did send his apologies to yourself and everybody else out there, and he is really, really keen to get on the show as well, which is really cool. But today we have Marty McCoy. Hopefully it's Marty from the Lonely Ones. I'm not entirely sure. I've interviewed him a couple of times, and of Bobaflex. It'll be good to catch up with them. But I'm pretty keen to hear what you've been up to, man. How you been?
Oh, wonderful, sir. Again, good morning to you. Good evening.
Good evening to you. Good morning to me.
Right, it's morning, evening. You're probably on coffee. I have a wonderful hazy pale ale called Effortless from my friends at Love Drafts.
Hold that up to the camera. There we go. Spin it around so we can get the label up there. There we go. Big shout out to them. There we go.
And then I'm trying to look for their logo. Love Drafts. There we go. There we are. But they're up in Mechanicsburg. I just did a show with my good friends in Defiant, and that was killer. We did a show with Texas Hippie Coalition, Closure, Sinister Slain, and The Plan, and that was controlled chaos, if I may say so. So big shout out to everyone there. That was cool. I sent you photos of that epicness, but yeah, came off a great weekend of rehearsals with my boys in Lenny.
Yep.
And we're entering the studio in December. Morgan and Lizzie are coming out, and this one's a little thrashier, or I should say thrash groovier for Lenny, but we still got the melodic, kind of the Alice in Chains vocal vibe, but
there's some photos for you people there. For the people that are on the video as well, for the audio people, there we got a nice one of Jim ripping it there. Look at that.
Look at that idiot. Look at
some nice photos in there. Chris Ryder photography as well. Got to give that guy a shout out there.
He's
he can
fantastic,
do the photography as well. Always got to give a shout out to the photographers.
Marshals.
Yeah, I know.
I love the skeleton. Humping
the skeleton hanging on. He's humping it. That's it.
The speaker.
He's humping the speaker.
That was a killer, and it was so great. You're literally the people are right in your grill as far as that. So that was cool. But
yeah, Defiant. I hadn't heard of Defiant. It's good. Like what I do with music media, and we're kind of saying before camera, it's like doing what I'm doing now. I get to hear all these great bands and also meet people, hear new music. Like through you, I've found Defiant and some of the bands that you've been going on and listening to as well. But one I do know is Texas Hippie Coalition, man. How cool was that? Playing with a dude. I've got a really good friend who just fucking loves Texas Hippie Coalition, man. I went out there for a while, go there and smoke some weed, chill out, catch up, and he'd always have Texas Hippie Coalition cranking, man. He loved them guys.
They were it was funny. Just as soon as they took the stage, it was just like you could feel like we're from Texas. It's and it was but their sound was so cool. It's like adrenaline fueled Southern rock with groove metal influence. So
it's funny because I'm like, it spins me out because I'm always talking about bands, and I I talk to some people. I'm like, man, I was chatting to my girlfriend. I'm like, he's gonna be playing Texas Hippie Coalition and that. Like, huh? So, but for me, I'm like, I don't know. They are really a good band, kind of the same kind of Black Label Society-ish as well. You know what I mean? That kind of sound, but they've definitely got their own sound and style, man. You see him up there, man. You're like, man, this cat's a cool dude, man.
And he comes out and he's like, what have you been doing? I've had whiskey and weed. And everyone just, okay, that's great. But it was cool. It was very, their tone, our buddy, Hayden, he's, fantastic sound. And you could like, every tonality you can hear. So like the low end's low, the leads are very clean, everything. It's like, wow, this is sheer power. It is absolute sheer power. Again, and we're my boys in Defiant, they have, it's funny, the first band, the plan was just to throw where they come from. They did a cover of Suicide Silence. So you have almost a deathcore band, and those kids, I say kids because the two, my buddy Dalton, he's a lead guitar player. He's actually a student of Dario from Black Label Society. And got to meet him for the first time. It was awesome. And metal, they're literally kids. The two brothers that are in the band, I believe, are like 14 or 16 maybe. But these kids, they absolutely destroyed. And but when he goes, anybody know a band called Suicide Silence? And it was funny because maybe people didn't hear him, but I felt like a one-man island because I just went, I know them. They crushed it. I mean,
rest in peace, Mitch Lucker.
He sounded a lot like Mitch. And they tore it apart. And then my boys in Sinister, my brother Johnny, incredible. The best, he has a way of describing his brand of metal. It's kind of like that gun. I don't want to compare them to anything, but Sinister are kind of like that Rat, Guns N' Roses, kind of like that. Like, I don't want to say trashy, but it's like that nasty, that grungy glam metal.
Yep.
Yeah, but they're better than that. There is,
but even that's good. Like you're talking like that grungy glam metal, sleaze metal, like sleaze rock, trash rock.
That's it.
Fucking man, this is cool as fuck, dude. I'm actually like, it
was rad.
Yeah, keep going on about the show. We'll jump into that.
Oh man, and then us, and then it was Closure. And I'm gonna butcher the other band, Joe. Oh my gosh, I swear to God, I'll send it to you and forgive me, guys. I'll get on this, and I can't say it right. They're the other band that is currently on tour with Texas Hippie Coalition. It's Closure, Joe
Mansman and the Midnight Revival Band. Yeah, I've actually jumped over and followed them, checked them out. That's as well, dude. Pretty cool stuff, man. Really cool.
It was a great night. It seriously was. And what a venue. Love Drafts again. Again, that stage for a short guy like me, I feel like I'm 87 feet in the air. So it was cool. And then, like I said, great rehearsal on Saturday. We ran through the set with Lenny. We are playing December 16th. We're down in Frederick at Cafe Nola with our friends in Machine.
Yep.
And early December, Mr. Rose is coming out after a spirited recording session with Seven Dust Latest. To be announced. I don't know when they're releasing that. I have no idea. I'll find out from the horse's mouth, so to speak. And we're excited because this is the first one. In the past, like me, him, and Lenny, there'd be a riff and we would do it together. This is actually the first time that this was a riff Lenny and I started that me and the rest of the guys, Stevie, Rob, and Mike, we've done together. So now it's like, okay, gauntlet thrown. Let's show them we can write something heavy. So, but we're excited. It's called Curse and or Her Curse, and at least we think right now. But it's got groove. There's that. But it still, retains that element of, we got, a lot of vocals happening, like the Alice in Chains thing. But, I've been listening to a lot of at the time, I wanted something that was like, I love like stoner metal. So one of my favorite bands is Corrosion of Conformity. I wanted something that sounded like that.
Yeah.
And another band that are actually a PA band called Crowbot, and they had just this really unique tonality. And I was like, how do we combine elements of like thrash metal and then that stoner, and then have our like the Alice in Chains vibe? So hopefully it turns out and everybody digs it.
They will most definitely dig it. Like that, it's like your band and a lot of bands like this with the leading the charge with the kind of that sound and the rock and I've really enjoyed doing this and finding all these bands and this media side.
Yeah.
I did want to kind of dive into this. You're talking about trash rock, sleaze rock, modern rock, all this really, really cool stuff that is coming out at the moment. And even like bands like Hardcore Superstar and Crash Diet, these modern rock bands that have been
awesome,
killing it for a long time. For me, I was saying before we started recording, I used to have this group of bands I'd listen to. I know people do it still. They go, I've got my 6 bands, my handful of bands, and that's all I'll listen to, and I don't want to venture out so much. But for me, as I've grown older and because of what I do for music media, it's been a great joy for me every day to get up and listen to new albums, like immerse myself in new scenes and new genres that I would listen to. You mentioned stoner metal and the sound that kind of you were going for a little bit as well. What you were going a little bit with the Len, with the Alice in Chains and everything like that with the latest one. For me, a lot of these bands I wouldn't have dive into, probably I'd still just be playing my Soulfly, my Fear Factory, my top 6 bands like everybody else out there in the world or whatever you're listening to. But for me, what I've been doing, and I'm going to talk about rock a little bit more because we do have the Lonely Ones as well, like listening to all these different genres, but finding out that there is a really healthy hard rock, alt rock scene going.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It is extremely healthy. And
Absolutely.
You kind of get lost sometimes listening to people, trolls on the internet go, rock is dead, modern rock is dead. Dude, I've listened
it's alive and well.
It's alive and bloody well. And some of the modern rock bands that are going around and cranking are really unreal for me. Like as we'll talk about the Lonely Ones, Bobaflex, I hadn't heard of them. I don't know where I was in my cloud. I'm like, as I said, I had a little cloud and I didn't venture out much. But when I had an email come across going, hey, Bobaflex, rah, rah, and then Lonely Ones, and I've ended up chatting with Marty the first time, and I dove into the Bobaflex back catalogue. I was like, fuck, dude, these guys are so bloody good. They had these really good hooks. Same as bands like Hardcore Superstar. I knew Hardcore Superstar were around. I'd listen to a couple of tracks here and there, but it wasn't purely because I was started covering it during the PR and for it as well that I'm like, I better go check out more of that. And same as Crash Diet. Like for me, I'm really, really digging the current modern rock scene at the moment. It's really exciting. Even the sleaze rock, we've got some great sleaze rock bands down here. Cross On are really good. I've seen this band called Snakebite Whiskey from up Brisbane way that are just unbloody real, and it's just the scene is healthy and bloody strong, and it's really good to see.
That's awesome. I was same thing. I went not only looking at stuff that's current, I went back
classics
a little bit. You know what I mean? I actually today I did this thing where I went on YouTube and I swear to God, I just typed in yacht rock. And so I had stuff from like Steely Dan to like, I had that on, but then I dove into I had to I think because I watched Dumb and Dumber recently, but Red Right Hand came on, so Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. And so I thought of you. I was like, oh man, I gotta mention Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds because he's one of my favorite artists as well. In fact, his side band, Warren Ellis, one of the mandolins I play is his signature model. And and a lot of people, who's Warren Ellis? And I was like, I need to check out Grinder Man. You need to check out Warren Ellis. And you need to check out Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, man. He's I mean, you've had everybody from Johnny Cash to Metallica cover Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, and it was the record I was listening to was Let Love In, and there he is.
There's a little bit of a footage. I haven't got the audio because we will get fucking canned really bloody quick. But it's Nick Cave bouncing around with the red right hand there. I just love Nick Cave, and for me, it was also another artist that I come into a little bit later. I don't know whether it was just the bravado of a boy being a young lad. It's got to be him.
Yeah, right.
Now, like as I got older and moving in towards my late 20s and early 30s, and now I'm in my 40s. But Nick Cave, when I really went back and discovered, like not discovered, but really dove into it, and the songwriting and the poetry and the visual aesthetic, not only coming at you sonically, but visually as well with the film clips. And
he's so stylish too, you know, and like the way he to me, guys like him and others, Tom Waits, for me, is they just happen to tell. They're musicians that tell stories. Like, I'm not saying that like musicians don't tell stories, but they're like, Nick Cave could be like, I'm gonna read you from this George Orwell book, and then he would, like, you know, just weave this tapestry. He would take like what he interprets of that book and turn it into this imagery. But he did, you know, him, Waits, you know, they're these guys that just tell stories. And if you were just to pick their brain, it's so far beyond how can we be different but still be catchy? Because everyone knows Red Right Hand. When you can see Jim Carrey with the big cowboy hat walking down the street, or Hellboy. It's another one. If you watch Hellboy, his Red Right Hand's in that too. Tom Waits, if you call it, it's episode 1 of The Punisher, and John Bernthal is laying waste to those guys with the sledgehammer, and it's that hell broke loose, and I was like, man, that's Tom Waits. And it really plays into, you can still be a heavy band and not have distortion. You know what I mean? And like to this day, I say, who's the heaviest artist you ever listened to? I said, Johnny Cash. You can't get. I mean,
that was another one I come back into, Johnny Cash, man. Like I was, and I think a lot of that was the 9-inch, the track he done, the Hurt track. Yeah, okay, cool. We actually got Jimmy today, people. Here we go. Let's see if we can admit him. We have Jimmy and we have, we got a full house.
Oh, I'm so excited. This is so cool. Oh.
There we go. We got Marty.
What's up? Can you see me?
Hey, Marty. I can't see you. How you going, my friend?
Let me turn the camera on. Let me take my robe off.
For the people on the audio, we've just had Marty McCoy, and we've got Jimmy today. G'day, Jimmy. How you going, people? How you been, Marty?
I'm awesome. How are you,
guys, man?
I'm good, brother. I am good. It has been just over a year, man. So it's really, really good to catch up. And a big shout out to Jimmy. It's good to finally meet you, my friend. Hope you're doing well.
What's up, dude?
You guys,
how you doing, man?
Cool.
This is cool. And we have Jim Taylor here of Len, guys. This is the user on the podcast, the Bloody Legends podcast I've been filming as well. And I had to get, these are label mates. I'm from Len, Jim Taylor. We got Marty McCoy, and we have Jymmy Tolland from the Lonely Ones. Jim is my co-host, guys. These are the first official guests. So it's really, really good to have you guys on to talk about what's been happening.
Thanks for having us, man.
Cheers,
it's always good to hear your voice.
This is very cool.
This is very, very cool. It's an absolute pleasure. You've been very, very fucking busy at the moment. I know it's been a whole lot of shows. How has the last year for you been, Marty and Jimmy? I know it's been a crazy, crazy time.
It's good, man. People are starting to catch on. The band's starting to move some numbers. People are starting to show up to shows more and more. We're releasing new music at a faster pace. Things are just, you know, the pandemic's over, and the music industry starting to gain its legs back. So it feels pretty good. We survived. Awesome. We made it through the other side, and it's time to get going, hit the ground running.
Been Jimmy, it's good to finally meet you, my friend. Can you tell us a little bit about how you've been, man, the last year, a couple of years with the Lonely Ones, man? Because it has been quite a wild ride, man. You just have some great tracks. I've been along since day dot with the Lonely Ones. How's it been for you, man, the whole journey?
It's been very nice, man. We launched the band, as far as live back in August of last year, and then come right out of COVID swinging. Since then, I've switched instruments. That took up a lot of time and a lot of effort within the band. Kind of almost starting over with me switching and True joining. Whatever that was, 7 months ago or something like that. So it's been
that was a lot of fun, eh?
yeah. We were putting in probably 60 or 70-hour weeks working on working on getting back to where we had worked so hard getting over COVID and then having to restart as soon as COVID lifted, basically.
Right. Man.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, well, go for it, my friend.
Jimmy, how high are you right now?
I'm not high at all. Why do I seem very high?
That's fine, man. It's wake and bake and coffee time. I'm definitely not a drinker. I'm more of a smoker, Jimmy. So that is totally fine, man. It would have been quite an adjustment because I did notice you'd switched up from bass there, man, and you fucking held that champion bass player there, man, and then switching over to guitar. It definitely would have been a hell of a process for you as well, but also kind of fun, I suppose. Like once you got it down.
It was a really fun challenge.
Yeah.
I played guitar before I played bass, and actually switched to bass, around the time I met Marty to join another band, and then joined our other band Bobaflex on bass, alongside Marty. Probably Marty 8 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that. So guitar was always something I had in my repertoire, but it was definitely a really big challenge to jump over from just playing guitar in your bedroom and writing with your buddies to actually playing in a serious rock and roll band on guitar. It's a very different animal.
Well, also too, I don't know if people realize this, but Jimmy's always been a ripping guitar player from the time I met him, though. So we were talking about Jake left the band because touring's hard. I get it; it's not for everybody. He wanted to do a different kind, go in a different direction. And so we talked about getting guitar players and stuff and what we wanted to do. And just one day everybody's like, dude, you just play guitar, man. I like your style. You're all style. It's like, we won't have to worry about guitar players quitting and shit. We'll solve our guitar player quitting problem right here and there. And he's always been a ripping guitar player. And his style is the style that I like. It's very, slash and just all feel. And so it's just like a perfect setup. And then we rehearsed so much that there was no way he wasn't coming out of that thing banging. So yeah, it's the best decision we ever made. It's awesome.
It's fantastic.
Feel free to jump in anytime you like as well, Jim, too, if you have anything you want to add.
Oh yeah, no, you're covering it all. This is so cool. Like to actually, it feels good to actually talk to you guys because again, we're on Imagine together, and I told Shauna, who handles all of us, I was like, dude, talking to Jay and the dudes from the Lonely Ones are going to be on. I was like, I'm not going to freak out.
Shauna is awesome, by the way. I love Shauna.
No doubt. Yeah, she's the best.
She's absolutely unreal. And we were talking a little bit about modern rock and how, the rock scene is actually alive and thriving, contrary to popular belief. Bands like yourselves, the Lonely Ones, are for me part of the joy of what I do. I was used to just being when I was younger days, listen to a handful of bands, and doing this now, I'm able to really explore a scene and be involved in it and listen to bands I'd probably hadn't heard as much, you know what I mean? And diving back into when I first met Marty doing this and diving into that back Bobaflex catalog and seeing what these guys had done, it absolutely blew me away, man. The talent of these guys as well. And it was really good, Marty, to kind of see, because I know you did mention that it was going to happen every now and then, the latest track single from Bobaflex as well, which is I'll Blow Your Dreams Into the Sky, man. Tell us about that.
Yeah.
So my brother, he decided to take some time off. He's a dad, and he decided that I need to be at piano recitals and volleyball games because Bobaflex were toured like a nightmare. Like I mean, we 365 days a year, we do 300. We'd be on the road, 280 days a year. And so he decided it was time to take a break and I can't do this anymore, guys. I gotta, my daughter's 13. It's time to teach her. She's going to be learning to drive, getting ready to go to college, just thinking way ahead. We're like, we understood. We were devastated, but we understood. So, we all decided let's do something new and exciting and see what happens and take it in a different direction because it doesn't feel like Bobaflex without my brother. That was something that, we all did together and it just didn't feel the right way. So then after he was off for a while, he started to be like, you know what, man, maybe we could do I'm still needed a little bit. I still want to write songs. I still want to get things out off my chest. And I still want to hit that stage. Not like we used to, but I still need it. And we're all like, absolutely. It's so much fun. And we built a massive fan base and it was just like, it's too much fun to do. So then he was, writing songs and he comes up with these wild, great concepts, and we're from West Virginia. So, I'm a liberal guy, but I also own guns. And he hit this nail on the head with, that whole, protect your home, come across the threshold kind of thing. All bets are off. And he knew that was going to strike a chord with our fan base and with, people that it's like, yeah, you shouldn't have 400. I mean, you can have how many guns you want. It's America, whatever, but that protecting your home is the most important thing. And we've had some things happen. I don't know if you go into it, Jimmy. You know what I mean? Some things that's happened to Jimmy here lately, where we all do believe it's like, yeah, you come through the door, it's not going to be good. You're going to go out. Nothing's going to happen. It's going to stop. Come through this door.
No doubt. Damn. That's I agree. I'm not far from you. So what part of West Virginia you guys from? I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Mason, West. Jimmy's from Washington State. Jimmy's from Washington State is why he doesn't have
don't sound like it anymore though.
Say
that's why he's
I don't sound like I'm from Washington anymore. I've hung around with him too much.
You're right. I'm actually I'm outside Gettysburg. Yeah, like Chambersburg area, if you know where that is. So but this is my home. I built this with my wife and my in-laws, and
it's a log cabin.
Close. It's kind of like no, actually it's not close. It's more like a Cape Cod. But don't let the hat fool you. I just wanted to wear the hat.
Is it an A-frame?
He said Gettysburg, and I built this myself. I was like, log cabin. He's out in the woods.
I lived in an A-frame once, Jimmy.
Okay.
I want an A-frame so bad. They're the coolest looking houses.
It looked like it was built out of the stuff that you build the commercial cool rooms with, I think, and it just had two big panels put against it like that. And
like
that's
corrugated metal.
Yeah, almost. It was like the stuff you build the industrial cool rooms. The walls.
Yeah,
kind of looked like that, and they were just kind of really
paneling.
big. Yeah, as you get up into the top room, you had to you fucking hit your head. Shit like that. It was like, no, I'm not staying up there. No,
it's like a really rad ski lodge.
Yeah,
I like it.
I'm obsessed with houses that aren't rectangles. I just want one that can be any shape like that.
Yes, correct.
How's the live schedule been going for you? I noticed you've been playing a ton of shows, and it's really, really good to see the Lonely Ones out on the road, because it's something that you were chatting about, I think, in the very first interview, Marty. You're like, man, really keen to get this going as well. So the live shows are going along really good too, which I have noticed for them.
Oh, it's great. And the thing that makes me the happiest is that we're getting better and better every show. We're getting tighter and tighter as a band. And we're starting to hit that stride where it's like, we don't have to look at each other. We don't have to think. It's just bam, all natural, all feel. And the crowds are starting to get bigger and bigger. The building process is definitely working. It's building. And the numbers on Spotify are getting bigger every day. It's YouTube numbers, all that stuff. So it's
a lot of grinding.
It's growing. It's
a lot
of
grinding and hard work. Yeah, I know you've been
it's
incredibly hard working behind the scenes as well, and that's what people don't fucking realize. It's not something that just happens. It's a hell of a lot of live shows, a lot of bloody trawl on that social media, getting people aware of what's going on. The latest single, The Bedroom Door, absolutely rocks for the Lonely Ones. Jimmy, can you tell us a little bit about that one as well, dude?
Yeah, Bedroom Door was the first single that we wrote or finished, with me on guitar. So I felt like it was kind of a mission statement for us as a whole. It was the first song with True in the band. We just really wanted to come out really drawing a line in the sand, for lack of a better term. I've always come from deep rock and roll roots. Marty has as well. And so, I guess we figured we'd dig into that even a little bit harder than we had before. And it's kind of a homage to, Led Zeppelin a little bit, homage to Ron Wood and the Faces a little bit, homage to Pink Floyd a little bit, kind of wear it on our sleeves and not ashamedly.
It's so melodic.
I remember when, Jimmy took over on guitar. We just talked about, let's really dig into this rock thing, because Jimmy's like, I don't really love, heavy metal as much. And I said, I'm just not a very good metal singer, man. I can't do the screams and the growls. I never could. So it was just like, when he said that, I was like, oh, fucking thank God, man. Let's dig into this rock. Yeah, let's dig into this
put the corpse
thing.
paint away, Marty. We don't need it.
Yeah, you missed out on what could have been.
Yeah, because I was like, it's like I'm just not a screamer. I just never could do it. I didn't understand it. I don't know how to do it. It's not what my voice sounds like. So when Jimmy's like, let's lean into this rock thing more, because that's the kind of way I play guitar, I was like, I am with you, buddy. That feels good to me. And it's just natural, man. It's just coming natural.
We started the Lonely Ones kind of, in a reflexive decision off of Bobaflex of wanting to not be creatively dishonest with people and keep Bobaflex going without so many of the original members, just to keep making a check. Basically, we wanted to be honest with people and do something that the people that started that band had intended and wanted to do creatively. And once I took over on guitar, I felt like it was kind of the same thing. Like, could I play a lot of these, more technical riffs? Maybe, probably not that great, but I could probably fake it. But come right out the gate lying to people about, what we sound like and who we are underneath the hood just seemed stupid and against what we were trying to do in the first place.
Yeah, I agree. Well said, James. Well said.
Definitely well said. It's got a great sound. It's just, I couldn't see you doing anything bloody else. And as you just said, the honesty, Jimmy, going on and just going, look, this is what we're doing. We're now the Lonely Ones, and you've been from day one. This is one thing that all your fans and people like myself do like about you guys. You're straight up, you're genuine, you chat to anyone. What you see is what you get as well with the Lonely Ones. And it's also the way you've done it as well, going, look, this is basically, we're going to do our material as well as the Lonely Ones. It's not honest for us to keep going as Bobaflex, because Sean's spending time with his family as well.
Doing
time with his family. Spending time with his family. And I've got 3 daughters. So I'm definitely doing time with my family. That's for sure. I know other bands that have done it as well. And I think it's a really great way of doing it. Instead of trying to keep the band going, and just because of the namesake, you know what I mean? Like bands like Thin Lizzy, when Ricky Warwick come on, they're like, we want to do original music, but it's not honest and genuine for us to do it under Thin Lizzy. So they've done the Black Star Riders. And I know other bands as well have done that. And look, it would be easy to go down that route of going, oh, fuck it, let's just go Bobaflex and you know what I mean? But it's not honest and it's not genuine for you, I suppose, as musicians to go down that route. It's always going to be, this is the Lonely Ones. This is what we're creating. It's an extension and a continuation of Bobaflex, but it's also something new and original.
Beautiful
and
thing
also
too.
On top of that, I got really, really big ears. So I have to have this vintage shag cut to hide them. And that really wouldn't make sense in a metal band.
Also, too, it's like, everything ended on good terms and good relationships with everybody. You know, so Jake still plays in Bobaflex, and my brother. I talk to my brother 5-6 times a day. Jimmy talks to my brother, 5-6 times a day. So we can do both. You know, when my brother and Jake are like, let's go hit the road, I got the itch, let's go do it, we go back and do some Bobaflex stuff, which is a fucking blast. It comes natural. It's like muscle memory, and there's that built-in fan base that shows up, and it's a lot of fun. So we get to do both. It's the best of both worlds. And I wanted to be a working musician. I definitely got it at this point. I get to pay my bills by playing guitar and singing, and I don't have to work at Amazon. So it rules.
Yes. Did I see you also played a show as well with Bobaflex recently?
We've done a couple. Yeah.
How are they, man?
The
We're doing our
26th
third
November.
show.
Nice.
Yep, the day after Thanksgiving, we'll be doing another Bobaflex show in Huntington, West Virginia, which is about as close as you're going to get to Marty and Sean and Tommy's hometown.
Yeah, and you also have a couple of shows coming up for the Lonely Ones as well, I believe, like this weekend.
Yes.
Is it this week?
Yes, sir. We'll be in Hallam, Pennsylvania, which is very close to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
You're playing
we're playing
on
Friday.
Yep.
Yeah. I've never been to that venue before. I'm looking forward to it. And then we'll be in Akron, Ohio on Saturday. Then we'll be out in the Carolinas. That's the first week of December. We'll be out there.
Yeah. And Jimmy, we're playing with Crazy Town. Remember Crazy Town, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's Friday. And that was one of my first in Bobaflex. Was one of my first connections. The singer from Crazy Town, when they had that massive success. I forget how it happened, but we became pretty good friends, and he kind of mentored me and producing music and like, hey, you got to do this and don't do this, and that part sounds like shit. And I would send him songs, and so I don't know if he still remembers me, because his journey went a different way. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see him. Like, hey man, do you remember me? We talked on the phone all the time. So he helped me a lot. I don't know if he remembers me, but I remember him.
That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, I was going to say that I intend to come out, so I wanted to meet you guys in person, not just here.
Hell yeah.
So,
all right, come on, man. That'll be great.
Yeah,
and I have no excuse because you're like 45 minutes away from me. So
that's easy peasy.
Piece of cake, man. That's a piece of cake.
So I got to ask about True. Tell us a little bit about True as well. G'day, True. When you watch this, man, tell us a little bit about True, where he kind of come from as well.
True and I met at one of his other band, Girl Fox. I had gotten dragged into his green room, and I didn't even know him at the time. And somebody was playing Frank Sinatra on the stereo in the green room, and I slammed my hand down on the table and said, "Who the fuck played this?" And he went, cool as a cucumber from the other side of the room, and went, "It was me, baby." And I pointed, I said, "We're friends now." And that was like right as everything was kind of lifting on the COVID front. And we just were friends after that. And he worked for the band before he joined the band. We offered him a tryout the minute that Jake left and I was going to switch over to guitar. He actually turned it down first time, then called me up or texted me like a week later asking about it again. And so we gave him a tryout and he got the job that night.
I said, "Why did you turn it down, man?" He's like, "I honestly didn't think I'd be able to play with you guys. I thought you guys were too good." I was like, I said, "No, you'll be fine, man. We'll put you through boot camp." And then when he joined the band, we practiced 7 hours a day, 7 days a week for a full month?
Oh,
something like that.
Something like that.
Something crazy, and put him through the ringer. And when we hit that stage, man, it was as if we didn't miss a beat. But that was the big thing. It was like Jimmy and Tommy and I are such perfectionists, and the live show is so important to us that we will rehearse all day long, every day. It drives everyone around us crazy, but we love it. And we thought, if True can hang with that, man, he'll be good. And he did. I mean, his fingers bleeding down his arm playing bass, and he hung right in there, and we knew pretty soon that he was one of us.
He's my roommate now as well. He moved in with me a couple months ago, and Marty, I haven't even told you this yet. He was telling me right before this interview. He's our resident little celebrity tracker. He was hanging out with fucking Dave Grohl last night at the fucking show. Yeah. Yeah.
I know he's always he hangs out with Dave
He was
Chappelle.
halfway
and
through
shit.
telling me. What'd you say?
I said he's always hanging out with Dave Chappelle and shit. I'm like, oh, this kid's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, he's much
That's
more
right.
cool and famous than us.
How'd he hang out with Dave Grohl? Did Dave Grohl go to a bar or something?
It was just through his connections he's got. You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Yeah, he just got back not 25 minutes ago, probably 7:55, 7:56, and was telling me, and I had to cut him off at 7 on the dot. That's why I was a hair late. He was telling me the story.
Did he say Dave Grohl was the coolest dude ever?
He has not said that yet, but he seemed to be working his way towards that. I mean, I don't need him to tell me that.
Go, Jimmy, that's all right. I chatted to this fucking crazy Aussie called Jai. I don't care. You chatted to Dave Grohl. I chat to Jai. It's all fucking good. We got Jim over here as well. You keep Dave Grohl. Sorry, man. You're good. I've got to ask about the other track, couple of the other tracks he's brought out since last time we spoke as well. Marty, can you tell me a little bit about the Way Out track, man?
Oh yeah, that's a dark one, man.
Yeah.
I was in a bad place there for a minute.
Yeah. Weren't we all, man? Weren't we all, dude?
Yeah. It's a dark one. I thought it was a beautiful love story.
Nice.
You know, it was I won't get too far into it, but what the story's about is, you know, this world is shit upon these two people, and they decided, you know, let's go ahead and try it. We'll find each other on the other side and see if it's better over there. Yeah. So it's a tragic story, but it's also this beautiful love story. I'll find you on the other side kind of thing. And it's super dark. And when I played it for my brother. He goes, "Are you okay?" I was like, yeah, I'm good.
What? It's
I like songs and stories like that where it's like, whoa, shit. At first, it's a big shock. What the hell happened? And hopefully, you know, you find some beauty in it in the end, and that's what that song was about.
Absolutely. Well, and there's a therapeutic, you know, that's how you work your shit out. You know, is writing that.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah, like Lenny, when Lenny writes his lyrics, he's like, man, you know, this is, you know, every time we perform it live, you know, it's like, man, I feel better, when we do it. And he's a very outgoing dude like me, and we actually did a podcast where they were asking about like anxiety and depression, and we're grinning ear to ear, like we like writing sad shit, you know. Like it's just how you deal with it, and like the way you guys write it's cool. I think we have a similar connection where it's like writing sad lyrics with happy chords, as Lenny says.
It sounds beautiful, but it's a nightmare underneath.
I
love songs. I love movies like that. It's just the stuff that turns me on. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
That's the stuff that I'm interested in. Is the whoa shit? There's a undertone here that, you know, maybe you got to dig a little deeper to find.
Yes,
that's the Bedroom Door song. When I wrote the lyrics to Bedroom Door, it's a double meaning. It's, you can either, if you find me attractive, then the song is very flattering and sexy. If you don't find me attractive, it's very creepy and stalkery. And I just thought that was a cool dynamic. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. No doubt. Wow. Oh my God.
It's cool to be able to write
which is it, fellas? Do you find me attractive or what?
I don't know how to answer that one. I do know I like Vegemite. Maybe Vegemite was knocking on my bedroom door. I would be
this podcast is all about intellectual honesty. So answer how you may, sir.
That's it, and I totally get that too. It was a tough year, man. I think last time we spoke, man, I was everything in my life was going normal, and then it kind of fucking hit a wall, man. Marriage fucking ended, which was straight after that. My niece ended up dying as well. She had advanced midline glioma, had a brain tumor. Elizabeth was absolutely a trooper. I moved in with them, and I was with her for the last steps of her life as well was there when she passed 2 days before her 5th birthday as well, dude. So it was like listening to music like yours and you're going through this time and having that. And me, I've never been a musician, but having artists like yourself and songs and, you know, that you can relate to, and yet you wrote it at times of your life where you were down, but also people like me as well, being a fan and a lover of music, not a musician, but a lover of music, can really connect to the artists through music. And for me, having bands like yourself and people like Jim and Len and all that kind of gets you through those dark times. And not only well, I don't write music, but being able to talk about it for me is also very important. And go, look, as you were touching on that point, there is a light at the end of the tunnel as well. You know what I mean? To be able to write about it as a song or to talk about it and go, look, we all went through some fucking dark times, but I'm, you know, you're getting through the other side, and there's a whole lot of beauty as well, besides all the loss that every single one of us has been through out there in the world.
I would agree. I've had the same experiences as a music lover, songs that hit me where I was like, oh, okay, I get this. This speaks exactly what I'm feeling right now. So, I mean, I've been on both sides of it, right? Music, but I try to write music like that. I don't always hit the nail on the head, but I've definitely, you know, the biggest songs to me were those songs that inspired me in times of, you know, this massive darkness, and these lyrics hit just like, oh, I'm not alone, that kind of feeling. I mean, I know it sounds pretty cliche, but it's very true. The reason cliches are so popular is because they're correct. So I've had, you know, definitely where a lyric hit me, I was like, that just changed the way I feel about everything just in an instant. It was, you know, it was a spirit that just, okay, all right, get back up, get moving, let's go.
Yeah, and the whole knowing you're not alone and that you can push through as well. And then, you know, having artists like yourself and bands that do these honest tracks, but also you can jump back in and, you know what I mean, kind of dive around all over the place and have a little bit of fun with the music as well. You know what I mean? Coming back to getting high. Something that I was cranking this morning. I think I shared the track and I was like, fucking getting high.
That's a real dark. Yeah, that's a dark song as well. It sounds like a party. That's a dark song too.
Yeah, it comes back to what we're saying, two sides of the coin.
Yeah. It's I like to said, the subject matter, I always want it to be something that makes you think, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just always been the stuff that turns me on, is like, oh shit, that's, you know, deeper than I thought it was.
Yeah.
I want to sing along. As I sing along and learn the lyrics, go, oh shit, man, what the hell's going on here?
Right.
And
right. And you got to make it, you know, it's like, how do you're tapping into an emotional void, and also, man, we got to make this thing sound, you know, it's got to make people, you know, sing to it as well. So it's like, you know, it's like you got to find that dichotomy between the two. You know, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's had some super catchy fucking hooks in there as well. I think that's kind of the one things that really grabbed me as well with the Lonely Ones. Some of those fucking damn hooks you got in there, Marty. You can't help but rocking the hell out to them as well, Jimmy.
Well, we don't want to sing it back. What's the point?
Yep.
And I know this one's a little bit ago. I did talk to Marty about it, but I want to chat with you, Jimmy. That Flash track, man, that was pretty fucking cool, that one you've done, and the film clip, man. I absolutely dug the bloody hell out of it. What was it like covering a classic, man, doing that one?
Oh, it was wildly difficult to try to arrange and pull off, was what it was. It was, if you already talked to Marty about it, I don't want to repeat the story of him and me going back and forth, on if we were going to do it, if we weren't going to do it, convince him all that. But I tried to write out charts for like the arrangement of it. So the first thing that happened was Tommy and I learned it as just bass and drums, just so there wasn't a bunch of guys like learning over each other. We had to rearrange the song, cut parts, add parts where it made sense. So it wasn't like we were just learning the recording. So Tommy and I learned this arranged version that I had cut and chopped together in an old notebook, and that shows you how much of a challenge it was that I had to learn how to write music charts, which I'd never done before, just to understand, like, there's 5.5 bars of this part here, and why does this vocal harmony stack change here instead of here, all that stuff. So it was really an exercise in learning how much detail can go underneath the surface of a song that you don't even notice. And that's coming from a musician. you don't even notice it until you've really got to peel the layers back and understand what makes a song, especially a movie soundtrack song, tick. It was a real challenge trying to, turn that into, not only a studio version that replicated and captured what Queen had going on, but then something that we could pull off and play live was a whole nother challenge on top of that.
So Jimmy dove into the arrangement of the song, and I knew the song since I was a kid, but like you said, it was a lot more complicated. So when we first went into play it, Jimmy and Tommy had it pretty well worked out, and I was fumbling all over the place, but I nailed the shit out of that solo the very first time. That was the thing part. I kept practicing. Yeah, I kept practicing the solo.
We go, oh man, I need you to wait half a bar before this part kicks in, and it pushes on the and of the previous, or the and of the next bar, and it was it was a lot of like, oh fuck, it was real close. Again, everybody can play their instrument. It's not like anybody was just completely helpless, but it was very obvious that Marty had been playing that solo since he was about fucking 12 years old.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was like, and Brian May is such a behind the beat guitar player that I felt like I was falling back as far as I could, and I was still ahead of where he plays guitar. He falls so far back in the pocket. His style is unmatched. I did not match it. I get by with it, but I mean, if you put those two solos together, mine's here, his is about that far behind, which makes this magical Brian May sound, and it ain't. And I don't know how in the hell he does it. I tried. I played that solo in my room for hours and hours and hours a day to try to fall back behind, and now just not mine. It just doesn't happen for me.
How long did it take you guys, like front to back, to arrange it? Like everything.
The arrangement of it. The arrangement
because
of
we
it
would
took,
pick and choose. Yeah, we would pick and choose. And like, this part, we pop this part out. We could go here. We could go here. But it came together relatively quickly, right?
The first thing I did was Marty and I sat there and like picked up, because it's not just Flash. If you listen to that movie soundtrack, it's Flash and then another song called The Hero off the same soundtrack, but spliced together. So what we did was Marty and I came up with what we thought was a suitable, more pop appeal, not so much movie soundtrack version of those two songs cut together. There's a little bit of stuff, cut here in the middle of Flash that was really more for, to go underneath a dialogue part. So it doesn't need to be there when the band. Yeah. And so we cut that apart and then spliced those two songs together. I cut them together in my little home studio. And then I sat there with that version that I think was like 5 minutes and 20 seconds long or something like that, and started picking apart, what this was probably a week of me sitting there. Cause like I said, I don't do this. I can't read music. I don't know any of it. I've never written charts before. So I had to come up with my own shorthand language that I could understand reading back of how a vocal stack builds. Cause I don't know, I know what notes it is once I play it on the guitar, but I don't understand who's in falsetto or soprano. I don't know how those
Queen
work.
set the standard for that, for vocals like that. That's hard to match.
And there's things, so much of modern rock music is built around fours. So, you're going to have a riff that's going to cycle 4 times, and then you're going to go to the verse, and there might be 4 lines of the verse that go before you get to either the second half of the verse or the pre-chorus, which is either going to go 2 times or 4 times. And it's, not to get too far into how the sausage is made, but it's a really common breakdown of how the numbers work in this. And it's just it just sounds good to the ear. It's repetitive and easy to get in your head. But Queen is playing things 5.5 times followed by 9 times. So now you've got to completely break all of these preconceived notions of it feels like the pre-chorus is coming, or it feels like the next line of the verse is coming. So you've got to write all this stuff. Oh, that was actually 9. That wasn't 6 or 4. Shit. Okay. And then, there's parts where you've got 15 bars of just a repetitive bass line, which is for musicians like us, that's tough to count, of just 15 bars of the same thing going. It's not for an orchestral music, because you're going to be resting for 40 bars before you hit the timpani. But all that stuff, it was really like, as you're writing it out, you're killing your darlings, basically, of how you would write a song. And it was kind of cool because it let us in on the secret a little bit of like, all right, you can write a good song that everybody's going to sing along with, and it can be in Blades of Glory or Ted 35 years later, that that really doesn't follow any of these fucking rules. And not that I want to write a bunch of 5.5 minute vocal flash extravaganza stuff, but it was cool to be able to go, all right, well, if I want this shit to go 5 times instead of 4, Queen fucking did it. Am I smarter and better than Queen? No.
But you did it. You did it your own way. You did it your own distinctive way, and that's what's so cool about it. But to take on something, that daunting, my God, you guys, that's awesome. Because that's no small feat. Oh, sorry.
It was horrifying. I remember the time that I finally, because we worked. Oh yeah, it's because we worked on the music relentlessly in a room, and once we finally got the music down, it was like, okay, guys, it's time to tackle the vocals. And I feel like a good singer, but
we're all hearing it too. You can hear the falsetto.
Look, I feel like a pretty good singer, but I'm no Freddie Mercury. And
dude.
But so what we did was, the very first time we worked out the flash, it was like, okay, this is your note, this is my note, this is his note, blah blah blah. And we did an acapella in the room, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we did flash, and we hit it the first time. I was like, oh shit, we might be able to pull this off.
That's so
brilliant. I was like, oh shit, there's a little pitchy on this last note, a little sharp over here, but shit, we might be able to do this. And then it started to be exciting, and I wasn't so afraid anymore. I was like, okay, all right.
And the funny part through all of that, and this can be a lesson to anybody who's a recording musician and maybe doesn't wants a little bit of advice or something, is when we went and actually recorded it, we tracked the entire song in 2 days, which is, so that's and it was at a much faster pace than we normally track. That's a lot of vocals to get through. It was quad, I believe it was a 5-part harmony on every flash. And each of those 5 harmonies was quadrupled. So that's 20 vocal parts that have to be sung all the way through. That's completely separate from the main vocal line and the main harmony parts, which in itself, a lot of times we would be taking a massive amount of time in the studio recording. And I'm talking, there were, I believe, 5-part guitar stacks on the there's a rhythm guitar, and then there's individual harmonies building a chord underneath those, and those are each doubled. So like all of that stuff is it's raw time, but we were still able to, through writing out these annoying ass charts and just rehearsing, we're able to somehow roll the dice and luck our way through that entire recording process in 2 days. Which, if you record for a living, you understand how tough that is to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's hard enough with the original songs. I mean, but yeah.
And then after we did that, it's like, that was really cool, and that was really fun, and wow, this sounds really cool. And then the daunting task of, now we have to pull it off live.
Right.
What the fuck were we thinking? You know what I mean? But we did. We pulled it off, and it's like we can get by with it. So yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like, I mean, there was a moment in time where everybody was doing covers. I mean, it was a new cover every 5 seconds. So our thing was, let's go big or go home.
Yeah, right. For sure. And but to take on, still, it blows my mind. Like to take on such a daunting band like Queen. That big respect there. I mean, that's, oh my God, because that's they're, in my opinion, they're the closest thing in modern rock to classical music as you can get. And that's
very true.
You know what I mean? It's like, if Beethoven had a hard rock band, it would probably be Queen.
A lot of people like us, it was like Queen when we were younger, bands like Queen, and they kind of influenced a lot of what and who we are as music lovers and musicians
Oh,
today. You know what I mean? So everybody knows Queen as well, and
right.
you know, not
And it
only
was,
that. You go,
and
Jim.
it was funny, and it's so funny because like you look at, well, it was really like, thank God for Wayne's World, actually, because that kind of put Bohemian Rhapsody a little bit back on the map.
Yeah.
And it was, but for me as a kid, it was before that. And to this day, one of my favorite songs is Princes of the Universe, which,
oh yeah,
every time you watch Highlander, from the dawn of time we were among you, waiting until now. That hit me just right in the chest, and then you hear that, and just they wouldn't even call themselves a metal band at all, but their metal, they're so far beyond it. Their power is just that, and you guys took that, and you were like, let's, okay, and you dove in, because that's what because you can't dive into a Queen song and just go like, well, let's just take this part out and this part out and this part, because you're going to lose its effluence. Is that the wrong? Lenny and I always talk about, we've always wanted to do, that's funny you mentioned Queen, because we always wanted to do that, Prince of the Universe or Who Wants to Live Forever. And there's like, well, we need 100-person choir to do this. But like, but seriously, guys, that's fantastic. And Jimmy,
Thanks.
part of my ignorance was that you had already moved to guitar at this point,
Bass.
right?
No.
was
I
on
was playing
bass.
bass at that
Yeah,
point.
that's why I was sitting there when you're
Okay.
talking. I just had that bass line dun, 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 in my
Yeah.
head, dude. I was just, as you were
Yeah.
talking, it's all I could. I was sitting there bopping because it was still playing in my
Jay,
head.
I was doing it too, man.
I played bass on that song, but there were so many guitar parts that needed done in that we
Right.
we split the guitar duties up into 3 different parts. So I ended up doing a lot of the bow, bow, down, down, down,
Yeah.
which was a good place to be in when I switched to guitar, because I already knew that I knew all those parts. But it was, I think it was, Marty and Jake did the rhythms. Marty, you did the big operatic solo. Jake did the outro solo, and then I did the kind of the harmony stacked guitars that are the response to the verses call.
Oh, that's so cool.
And the cool thing was, like, we tried to use the same kind of gear. Like, we used a guitar that the pickups were out of phase. We used Vox AC30s. We didn't want it to sound metal. We didn't want to be we wanted to have that crackle.
Not too bright, like crunchy. I'm sorry, crunchy.
We want to sound like a modern, like if Queen were to record that song now today, how would it sound? Yeah, with modern technology.
Absolutely.
They would you'd still use a Vox AC30, because Brian May still used the Vox AC30 with a red special, which we couldn't get a red special, but we were able to get a strap that had gotten completely Frankenstein into replicating one.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's very cool, though. Man, this is so cool. Oh, man, just to hear it.
So what else are the Lonely
It
Ones
was
got?
fun.
What else are the Lonely Ones got planned for the rest of the year, man? What can you tell us what you got on, man? You got any more tracks we can look at for coming out, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, our engineer, my best friend, Jimmy's best friend, Joe Veers at Sonic Lounge Studios, is finishing up a mix on our next single, Gucci Bags, and it's coming out as soon as we get that song back tomorrow. We'll do all the prep work and all that stuff, and it'll be coming out here fairly soon. So that's the plan, is to rapidly release music. Now that COVID's over and we're touring and all that stuff, it's like we're able to hit our goals a lot faster and back on track. So we're gonna start releasing music at a much faster pace, and so looking for the next song. Is called Gucci Bags, and it is definitely one of my favorite songs. It is a groove dance, ass shaking masterpiece. I can't wait for y'all to hear it.
That's awesome, sir. Very cool.
It is not heavy at all.
That's not everything has to be heavy, man. Like, that's the thing. I can be like, I love heavy metal, and like I've talked to Marty about it, like I can sit there and play some brutal, but then me and him were talking about bluegrass music in one interview we've done. So, and I found some really cool bands through that way as well. So it doesn't always have to be heavy. And the year is fast approaching the end, Jimmy and Marty, and I'm sure it's been a year full of big highlights for you for not only the Lonely Ones, but with the Bobaflex. You got any that kind of stand out for you for this year?
Yeah, probably. We did a couple of really cool festivals. We did the Blue Ridge Rock Festival. One of our Oh, it was awesome, man. One of our big hometown shows slammed out. I just, like I said, the highlights is being able to get back on the road with my best friends and tour and go through the country and start, playing these songs live and tightening up as a band. It's all, training for the next show and the next show. And like I said, starting a new band, I'm so like uncomfortable in my own skin because the band is not that muscle memory, don't have to think, don't have to look at my hands. And now we're at that point where it's just all flow and like, just like one consciousness just hammering on the stage. And I finally feel comfortable in that area where we're at with the band. So now we just keep pushing forward. We keep pushing forward, writing new music, but now we are that tight knit unit that I longed to be 2 years ago or a year ago. Awesome.
Hey, Jimmy, you want to chuck in anything, my friend?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's really the same thing for me. I love being in the studio. I love writing the charts. I love obsessing over the minutia of, the way Marty puts it. I like is, on the guitar, you chicked when you should have chucked. I love peeling through all that stuff, but primarily I like live music more than anything. I don't get off playing nearly as much as I get off performing. That's my number one. And so being able to have like our first full year of doing that from, I think January 4th was our first show until through December in a long time, because, we stopped playing in mid 2019 with Bobaflex. So having the first full year in 3 years to be able to do that has been an absolute blessing. And, I've got, the penguin is back in the water now instead of waddling around like a freak on the ice.
I like that. Good. I like that. Yeah, it feels good. It feels good to be back on the road, and it feels good to be back in shape, stage shape. Like I said, where it's second nature and it's emotion instead of worrying, did I play that right? And do I remember this part? And it's all just raw emotion now. And that's a place that I wanted to get to for a long time. And I feel like we're there. And I feel like we keep getting stronger every day. And I'm just ready to release new music. I can't wait for you guys to hear this new stuff. This next song, Gucci Bag's coming out. It's probably my favorite guitar solo. It's like, I will have to say probably it'll be the greatest guitar solo you hear all year. It's the coolest damn thing ever.
That's rad.
Yeah, wait, slick, man. It's all vibe, man. It's gonna be cool.
And there's always some cool film clips that go along with your tracks as well. So I dare say you'll be dropping one of them as well.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
Played with a whole ton of bands, man. Is there anyone you give a shout out to, like that we need to go check out, that you think need a shout out as well?
7 Year Witch. Check out Girl Fox. Who did we just play with, Jimmy, that blew all? Dead Poet Society. God, there's so many cool. That's what you were saying earlier. Rock is Dead is just a cool. Rock is Dead is just a cool statement. It ain't fucking true.
Right.
No, you just got to dive in there. Just dive in there. It's like not fucking like, you know what I mean? I love the old Cold Chisel, man, the fucking shit from 30 years ago, the old AC/DC tracks, but fucking throw them to the side and put in some new rock, mate. Listen to what's happening now and just explore. Like, I can tell you're going to have a lot of fucking fun doing it. Jump into some Lonely Ones and then from there, just go all over the place. Like that latest Hardcore Superstar album that was released through the year, Abracadabra, was a ripper. The Crash Diet one was great. There's some great modern rock bands that are just killing it at the moment, coming up and coming through too.
I think if you're gonna say that there's no good rock, or list like one band or whatever, it's just kind of a sign of not to put too fine of a point on it, but it's like you're getting lazy if that's what you think. It's like it's easier than ever to create music, to put music out, which means there is a lot more subpar music, but it means that you're also not putting that barrier of entry in front of some 19-year-old kid who can't afford to go spend, $20,000 recording a record. This kid might be able to write a song, play a song well, and maybe it's not an A-level recording, but it's going to be pretty damn good. And it's going to be good enough for the masses. It's going to sound better than anything sounded in 1980.
Yep.
So overall, I think we're in the best time for rock and roll music right now, because just by the way of casting that. What is that?
It ain't gonna sound better than Def Leppard. That's a massive recording.
Well, that was 1980.
That's what we all
you know
strive
what
for.
I'm saying, Lo. Like, all right,
Recording.
maybe you ain't gonna outdo
no.
Mutt Lange, but you're gonna outdo some schmuck that had a 16-track console and a 24-track tape machine, and just the barrier entry for that was just to have the money to afford it. You really didn't have to have the skill. If you could afford it and the record label was going to front the money for it and invest it in you, you were in. If they weren't going to do it.
Just hit mute, Jimmy. There you go.
Oh,
there you go. Cool.
My girlfriend. I'm sorry. I hope it didn't mute out my whole thing. My whole
No,
you got it.
We definitely got it as well, and that's another part of a joy for me. Like, I'll chat to some of the big rock bands, we'll also chat to the bands coming up through the underground scene. I believe everybody and every artist deserves a platform to get their music out there as well, and to be able to talk about it too.
Yeah, and if you're brave enough to fucking put yourself out there, man, you got my respect.
Yeah, flat out, and definitely deserve to be played as well. So everybody get out there, go bloody explore the Lonely Ones, Bobaflex. There's a whole ton of great music in there. Go buy some music, go buy some merch. And hopefully the guys drop an album soon so I can have something physical in my hands. That would be unreal. That means you all got to go buy some fucking merch though, that's for sure. Marty, Jimmy, do you have any last words?
$6 a gallon. Please buy some merch.
Yeah, buy some merch. It's like, how much is it for a coffee? You know what I mean? Like, and people complain about going and buying some bloody music. Like, get off your ass, people. Get the Spotify, listen to it, buy some music as well. Marty, Jimmy, this is always an absolute pleasure to catch up with you guys. Do you have any last words, shout outs, thank yous, or anything else you'd like to add in there, my friends?
Hey, keep up with us on any streaming service you listen to your music on, social media. Marty and I do a lot of the legwork on the social media. True does some as well. So if you want to shoot a message to the band Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, etc., you're not talking to some guy we contract out. You're talking to one of us. You want to help us, come to a show, buy a t-shirt at the show. You can't afford to make it out to the show, or we're not playing in your town. thelonelyones.com/store. We got some merch that we hand ship out ourselves. We got some made to order merch, but it's all there and it all benefits us more than you know.
Yeah, and stream those songs, man. Put us on those playlists. And it's a life changer for us. Each person that puts us on the playlist and hits that like button on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever streaming service you use, man, it's massive for us. So it may seem like it's not a big deal to you, but for us, every time one ding pops up, we're like, we got another one. Let's go.
Absolutely.
It really is, and it's really great for me to see. Like, it's like bands like yourselves. It's like, I'm not a sporting person, but when you see bands you love and people you love doing really well, it's like your home team is actually kicking fucking goals. And I'm really proud of you guys, man. So it's really so much, great to chat with you and see everything is rolling along really bloody well. Jim, did you want to chuck in anything, my friend?
I'm good. I'm just happy to be, and this is wonderful. And
it was nice to meet you, man.
And I will see you on Friday, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, shows this weekend. Better give that a shout out too. What shows we got coming up pretty close, Marty? Which ones have we got?
Yeah.
We're in Bellem, PA at the Tourist Inn. And did I say that right, Jimmy? Bellem, PA at the Tourist Inn with Crazy Town on this Friday. And then Akron at the Empire Music Club on Saturday. I love that club too. That Akron Empire Music Club's awesome. So yeah, come see us, Friday and Saturday. We'll be out there. Hope to see you guys out there.
Awesome. Cheers, mate. Everyone grab some Lonely Ones, some Bobaflex, some land, put it in the stereo, crank it really loud. The neighbors are going to want to hear it as well. Cheers, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Cheers, mate.
I was gonna say,
There we go. Okay. And as we wound this one up, that was a lot of bloody fun. Really, really enjoyed catching up with Marty and Jimmy. Thank you to everybody that has tuned in to the end of the Bloody Legends podcast. As always, please do hit the like and subscribe. Go follow Len on all his socials, Jim Taylor Music, JB Taylor Music, Jai, that Aussie metal guy, crank.com, that metalstation.com. Appreciate every single one of you listeners. You're the Bloody Legends. Thank you very much. Jim, did you want to chuck in anything, my friend?
I'm good, bro. I just appreciate you having me as always. And this is fantastic. and we're gonna keep on doing what we do.
I've already lined up some more guests. We got some more guests for the next show as well, people. I'm gonna have a chat to Jim off camera. Thank you, everybody. You're all bloody legends. We will see you next time. Stay tuned, like and subscribe. Thank you very much.
Mate, hey, fucking my man, fucking Jai, bro. That fucking metal guy, motherfucker. Fucking killing that shit. That metal station and fucking giving it to motherfuckers. Fucking Jai, that motherfucking metal guy, motherfucker. Shout out to you, motherfucker.